Well, hello there, Brian Barber. Welcome there, Gary Spikes. We got Lisa A, Cheyenne, Crystal, Val, Prospecting USA. Welcome there, Leonard, Lorna. Well, hello there, everybody. Scott M. We got Bigfoot Barbershop in the background. Everybody on X. Welcome, Station X. Denise, everybody. And hello there, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, wonderful. I got the famous little doll. So look at that. Came today. So it's in the studio. So yeah. So what's the history behind that?
They're made by a witch out of, I think, Pennsylvania, and some guys here that were on one of the other podcasts with me last October. They have them in their shop. So I've got one here too. And then one of the guys in the shop, so this is my little one.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to show both horns, but and then he's got a little necklace and he's got his little thing. But so then the guys at the shop add different things to it. So like the little stick in yours, which should be the pin for the voodoo doll, is hand carved by one of them. So just got to represent, and it can be whatever you want. There's no voodoo hex on it or anything like that.
Right. So yeah, absolutely. So happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another edition, and everybody that's watching on X and Twitter and LinkedIn and whatever. I know that's right, Twitter and X, right? I still say that. But welcome. Nice to have you there. I am broadcasting on all those stations and more. And I am monitoring you, so I know I got shout out last time because I wasn't responding, but I'm watching on other devices. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a trifecta. It's a very sad case. I know we've been holding on to it for a little while. Yeah. And what's the history behind here? So, yeah, it's a trio.
Yeah, this is actually submitted from a friend of mine who runs a private security firm out of that state, out of Missouri. So I've known him for a minute. So it's a mother, daughter, and her daughter's friends that all went missing June 6th of 1992. Two girls were at a graduation party. They just graduated high school the night before. They were at this graduation party together, and they went back to this woman's home, who is Levitt, I think is her last name, Sherrill Levitt. And then Suzanne Streeter is the other young girl. And then we also have Stacy McCall, who is the girl on the left. So they disappeared somewhere between 2:30 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. The parents of Stacy called the police and reported her missing, didn't come home after the party, and the police searched.
2:35 a.m. in the morning. It's the last time they heard from her. Right.
Hey, Brian. Hey, everyone. So the police went and did a search, and they know that they all made it back to Sherrill's home because all their cars were there. Hey, Cheyenne. And all of their belongings were there. Purse,
cigarettes, keys.
Yep.
Wallet.
And there was no sign of, it didn't seem like there was any sign of a struggle, which is weird, even if they were taken, right?
Right.
But all their stuff was there. And they just, this is apparently a notorious missing people case called the SpringField 3. You can look it up. You Google this SpringField 3, it'll pop right up. So it's crazy. Like I don't get it. I started listening to the radio or the newscast too, and they really just have nothing on.
Yeah. What was real strange is they found a snaker next to a set of railroad tracks and a pair of woman's panties. However, they cannot say if it belonged to any of these three, right, which was strange because you would know what shoe size they would wear. And then which was strange, was a car was reported stolen out of a parking lot, and so was some kind of camper. So there was 2 vehicles reported stolen, but no traces.
You'd think that somebody from that graduation party, if the parents didn't know, would know if that shoe was on one of those girls' foot.
I
Right?
mean, you would think, right?
It's girls. We look at our shoe. We look at each other's shoes. We do, especially high school girls.
Yeah, I just
They graduated a year after. I mean, their graduation party was a year after I graduated from high school. So, yeah, we looked at each other's shoes. It was a thing.
so I think Dolores, all 3 lived in the same residence.
The
Right?
So the mother and the blonde girl are mother-daughter.
Right. And the girl was staying with them, right?
Well, yeah, she was going to stay overnight. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Spend the night. So
they were high school friends, and they were at the same high school graduation party together. Went back to, 2 girls go back to one of their houses to stay overnight or whatever. Mom's there, pretty typical, really. But then they're all gone.
I mean, no trace evidence, no blood,
Nope.
no DNA, no. When I say DNA, we're talking body fluids of any sort, saliva, blood, semen, nothing.
Nope.
And like Jennifer said, I mean, everything, nothing was trash, no struggle, broken glass. I mean, it was like, all right, everybody get in the car, we're gone. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and never heard of again. And I think the last time I looked, the reward was up to $42,000, and it just sat idle.
Yep. I have the tip line up of where people can, if we find anything, it's from the state, from the Springfield Police Department. So they still have an active file to submit tips. It's crazy. And it's interesting that also the gentleman that submitted this to me, law enforcement training and military training too. He was the one that brought it up. He thought it would be a good one for, hello, John, a good one for us to talk about. And this is another one where I'm just, I already got my own little theory when I looked at the pictures before I read anything, but it'll be interesting what the panel comes up with too.
The panel has never done 3 at once.
They're going to wonder why.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So we talked about this last night, but however, let's start watching some news clips to catch up. So, and action, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
On this date in 1992, 3 women in central Springfield went missing. It appeared they'd been abducted. Stacy McCall, Suzanne Streeter, Sherrill Levitt's disappearance has been one of the most infamous cases in Springfield. Springfield Police, the FBI, and numerous other agencies have searched for leads on the trio, but they've all come up empty. The day before their disappearance, Stacy McCall and Suzanne Streeter graduated from high school. They went to Suzanne's home where her mother, Sherrill Levitt, lived. Well, no one heard from any of them again. Anyone with info on this case, the missing people, urged to contact Springfield Police Department, or you can always call Crime Stoppers, 417-869-TIPS.
And that number's still valid. No, their cars prospecting were still in the driveway.
Yep.
And that's what we're talking about. Everything was just on the counter, the cigarettes, the keys and everything. It was just very strange. And action. Go ahead.
Didn't see anything about forced entry either.
No. And here's the next one, ladies and gentlemen.
This mobile police command post sits outside Sherrill Levitt's home in South Central Springfield. It will remain here, along with an officer, to talk with neighbors or anyone else who might have some information about the 3 missing women.
We set that post up at approximately 6 p.m. last night, and at 6:30 we've got our first lead out of there. A lot of the public that lives in that area or drives through that area is stopping by, taking advantage of an officer actually being on site for them to talk to, and some lead cards are developing out of the command post.
Officers and volunteers combed remote areas in and around Springfield this weekend. The search turned up some items, but like others found before, there's no indication they're related to the disappearance.
But you saw the river, but you just didn't see them down there.
More than 24 detectives continue working leads around the clock, and leads continue to pour in.
As long as you have leads to follow, your hopes remain high. Frustration develops whenever you're out of leads and you've went through your case 3 or 4 times. You can't think of anything else new to do.
2 people closely associated with the women have passed polygraph tests. Glenn says 3 to 5 more people will be asked to take them, and perhaps many more before the case.
All right. What are your thoughts on polygraph tests?
So from the 90s to present day, the technology has extremely changed. They are extremely accurate. However, depends on the polygraph examiner and the technology they use. It is very hard to fool them. However, you got these IGMOs out here in the world that says that you can deceive them. When you take a polygraph examination, they prep you before you take the test. They give you all the questions up front to let you know what you are taking. Before you take the test, they have a set of questions that they know that they are correct and true, like your personal information and information that they can validate with you. And that is their baseline. So when they prep you during a polygraph examination, when they ask you these questions, they already know if you are going to be deceitful or not, because if you're going to tell a lie, you already know that they're going to ask you these questions beforehand. So now you're already going to be pumped up and worried, right? So you know what's coming. So now you're going to have that fear and that anxiety. They're going to have the straps around you, the blood pressure, the monitor on your fingertips, and everything else. So everything has changed. It's not like they just put you in a chair and start asking a bunch of questions. That's not how polygraph examinations work, ladies and gentlemen. You don't go in there blind. They don't ask you questions you already don't know. Everything is prepped beforehand. You know every questions before you take the examination. And usually you take it more than once. You just don't take it one time. So yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, nothing, no bodies has ever been recovered.
Nope.
Nothing, no remains.
Nothing.
That is what's very strange, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know. So, and I mean, what's your take so far?
I don't know. I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't think the mom's alive.
Oh, hold on for 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to do this real quick. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This is for entertainment purposes only. And watch the screen. I forgot to do that. So yes.
Okay. So I don't think the mom's alive. And I think the girls are. And they're not in a good situation.
All right. And action. Here we go. The next one.
When I think back on a year ago on the 7th, then I think about the terror of that night. You know, you relive it every time you think about it.
The sleepless nights as they were then are not as sleepless as they were.
That's our
Although
fault.
different times during the day, it's really odd how memories of Stacy here with us crop into your mind at the oddest times during a work day.
I fixed fish tonight, you know, and the favorite kind that Stacy likes with the tartar sauce that she likes. And so, you know, I haven't fixed that fish in probably close to a year. Just because I didn't want to buy it again. You know, I didn't want to have it here because that was her meal. She liked that. Everything that we do centers around that. We think about her all the time.
We believe this case is solvable, and we're not just saying that.
But that doesn't mean frustration isn't high over the case, which a year later remains without suspects, without even a firm understanding of what exactly
Did you
took
see all
place
those
and
case
why.
files?
Detectives
Yeah,
collect
isn't that
evidence
crazy?
and follow clues.
That is a
Information
lot.
in incredibly short supply at the believed crime scene, Sherrill Levitt, South
I
Springfield
wonder
home.
what they
We
have.
know that the perpetrator or perpetrators were in Springfield, lived in Springfield, ate in Springfield, drank in Springfield. They left a trail in Springfield.
Whoa.
If we can come across these guys, if we can get any indicator of who we may be dealing with, that we could move quite quickly. But as it stands right now, that hasn't happened.
30 detectives worked the case full-time at its height last summer. Now that's down to 1, with perhaps 1 new investigator to be assigned.
I think that there is some benefit to going back to the early days of the investigation, bringing in someone who has not been involved in it and giving them the opportunity from a fresh perspective to look at it.
I agree with that.
Police say logic dictates the women are no
Welcome,
longer
Poncho.
alive. The McCalls prefer to listen to their hearts.
Oh, so they think they're no longer alive. So they must know something that we don't. They have, it seems like, a lot of circumstantial evidence, and it seems like that they're on a trail of more than one suspect, because if they know where they eat, where they drink, where they sleep, what does that tell you?
Yeah, they know who it is. Yeah. I do actually have a the state put out the FBI put out the missing persons poster, but they actually have the aged, what they would look like 2 years ago if they had, aged, like what they would look like now. So
Really?
when the 2 girls are 48, you want me to show that?
Yeah, please.
Sure. It just kind of happened up on that.
All right.
So, but if they, I don't know. I just think this is a bigger part, here we go, of something else.
Welcome, NSPS TV. Nice to see you there, sir. Long time no see. So it's strange that they would have a rendition of what they will look like if they're older, though.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Why would they do that and say that? So that they find something else?
That's my point, right? And I'll be real. I just found this tonight before the show. So my feeling about the girls was there before I even saw this.
And what's the date on that flyer?
2022. 2 years ago.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Now, we actually worked on a case a year before last that we think it was and remember, it was a organized ring and they were trafficking out of the country. So, and people on X weigh in. I'm waiting for your comments, what you all think.
Yeah.
So
do we know anyone watching that's in this area? Like, I've never heard of this. Apparently this is like a big missing persons case. I've never.
Yeah, it is. And this is going to lead up to our next one. And action. You didn't even hear it?
Rainbow of
There it
balloons
is.
draped over the stage, family and friends of Stacy McCall, Susie Streeter, and Susie's mom, Sherrill Levitt, gathered at Kickapoo High School's gymnasium. They came to listen to a concert designed to raise money for the reward fund set up to find the missing women.
Well, as you know, this is about the year anniversary since the girls vanished, and we all still love them and we care about them, and we are trying to up the reward fund and reestablish the 1-800 number because we all just want them back so much.
With Stuart and Janice McCall and their family in the front row, entertainers from Branson and Springfield performed.
We've got a big family, and we know how family is, for anybody. Close-knit family. Yeah, and it's our heart goes out for them, and if we make a difference, we're here to make that difference.
Less than 2 weeks from now is graduation. The mood and the atmosphere of the graduating class this year here at Kickapoo is not the same as it was last year. We're doing this for two reasons. We want those that are coming back to high school next year, we want them to come back safely. And second of all, is to increase the reward money for the missing girls.
The concert raised more than the goal of $5,000. That money will be added to the reward of $40,000 for information that leads to the discovery of the women. In Springfield, Joe Dawes, Color 10 News Beat.
All right. So I'm going to put this comment up. At Lorna, you are right. And here's what I have to say on that. We will call that HT so we don't get flagged. And in law enforcement, we had to have a lot of training on that, especially out in the county, because nail shops was a lot of HT with the women brought in from countries, and also these local restaurants that everybody loves to eat chips and sauces without naming any brands. Right. And what they were doing is bringing them in white vans, and they would have to come in at once, leave at once, sleep in one location. And it was oblivious to everybody in town, and nobody knew what signs to look for. So everybody had to get educated on it. And that's why the sweep across the nation took place, and everybody found out what was taking place underneath everybody's noses. And that's what happened when everything came to light. So, yes, Lisa said same thing, HT. So, yeah. ATL Real, welcome.
We've got a few soap shops here that are possible HTs too. So it's interesting. So someone made a comment. I've got to scroll back up because I'm wondering if he was referring, was it John? Was he referring to this? Scott? Or were you referring to this case or a similar case?
What's Scott saying?
Scott,
yes, Dolores, retired captain detective. That's what I was. Yes, I do have a law enforcement background. I'm looking for Scott's comment right now. Let's see here. Dang, I must have missed it. What did he say?
He said those two girls that were...
Oh, there we go. Got it. Those two girls that were kidnapped because the dad owed money and they were in the same town they were kidnapped from. I don't know. I have to... Is he talking about this one or somewhere else?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, you know. If he, for some reason, heard, like as a local, had heard something like that.
But you figure a small town like that, well, it's not a real small... Well, yeah, it's close-knit, that somebody would have spoke up, though. Right?
Yeah.
So, because people talk.
Yeah.
They said they killed the parents and kidnapped the kids. Older story. Okay.
Okay.
And they burned the house.
Oh, my goodness.
So, wow. Hey, Pixie. So, yeah. Oh, Dolores, I thought you knew. I apologize. Yeah. So that's why I know a lot of things about certain things. So
I should ask my friend if there's any rumors of a lot of HT activity in that area back then, because he's lived up there for a while, I believe.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And yes, and Gene, you're right. And we also know how small towns are too. And in action on the next one. And here we go.
Just days before the 5th anniversary of her daughter's disappearance, Janice McCall helped supervise the placement of a memorial bench at the victim's garden in Phelps Grove Park. Relatives and friends of Stacy McCall, Susie Streeter, and Sherrill Levitt will officially dedicate the monument on Saturday. McCall says a black granite marker with the women's birth dates and the date of their disappearance will provide closure for some and healing for all who knew and loved them.
I hope that one day soon that we'll still have, an ending, that we'll be able to solve this and we'll be able to have either 3 women back or put them to rest. Until then, this is a temporary place to at least talk and think and reflect.
June 6, 1992, Stacy McCall and Susie Streeter graduated from Kickapoo High School. After celebrating, the girls went to Streeter's home, but sometime overnight vanished along with Streeter's mother, Sherrill Levitt. Since the women's disappearance, Springfield police have received nearly 5,000 leads in the case and still average about 9 a month. Still, police have yet to name a prime suspect, and 5 years after the fact, appear to be no closer to solving the mystery.
As an open investigation, during the last 5 years, we've looked at many people to actually classify them as a suspect or not as a suspect. I guess it's a matter of semantics.
They're working hard on it, and I appreciate it.
Like McCall, Cliff Williams, Levitt's uncle, still remains in close contact with investigators. Williams checks with police about once a month for new developments in the case and says the not knowing is still the hardest part.
The not knowing is, that's the thing that'll keep you awake at night.
I still catch myself wondering what she has on, what she looks like. Has she changed? Is she safe?
For now, McCall says she at least knows there's an angel watching over the 3 missing.
All right. Yeah, John, well said. It does sound like a Taken movie.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But I sure in the hell wouldn't want her dad to come after me, though.
No.
So I love his movie, so.
Yeah.
And Scott says, I never move in a small town, buddy. That's where I live right now, so. But no, it just makes you wonder, right? So if the FBI puts out that flyer a couple of years ago, that does indicate that there is possibly some knowledge that they may be alive.
Yep.
So
and yeah.
Yes, Lisa, and we actually came across some cases like that. Where police in small towns actually were corrupt, that covered up. Sheriffs were involved, the actual sheriffs and their staff. Yes, absolutely. You're right on there.
Wow. That's just
yes, absolutely
nauseating.
So, but and basically that is it. Everything else, there's nothing else to talk about. It's and I don't even think, I don't know if I think the mother I don't know if the dad is alive because I don't see any indication, anything in the newspapers or nothing.
No, I don't know.
So I don't know, but we do know the tip lines are still open. Well, of course the PDs are still there and the FBI. So absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting. To hear what the panel has to say for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Be very interesting. So anybody else have anything to weigh in before we end it and submit it to the panel? It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to say when we submit the picture. We'll be like, really? So, I mean, 1, 2, they're underage, and usually they don't like working on juveniles, well, usually kids.
They're 18 and 19.
So yeah, they are a little older. So somebody was waiting for them. Isn't yeah? I don't know. It's just weird, right? Because yeah, I mean, you think 2 teenagers, right, and an adult. Think how many people it would have to take to get them to go without force.
One of the news reports that I listened to said that there was evidence that the mother's bed was slept in.
Oh, that is correct. Yes, you are right. And that is correct.
Which makes it even stranger, more strange.
Yeah, remember the one in Bardstown with Crystal Rogers, and somebody brought this up. The mother and the daughter and that one girl that was butchered and tortured. Yeah, that was awful. And they lived on a busy street. We covered that one. Bardstown, Kentucky.
Oh, I didn't know about that one. Okay.
Yeah, you was involved on that one, wasn't you?
No.
Or is that right before you? I think that was right before you.
For me. We have
and that was not even an hour from where I live. So, and that was 5 murders in that small town, and they're still all unsolved. Well, besides Crystal Rogers, there's still Huck or whatever their 2 names is that we were involved in, and we actually had hits off that. And then now the media's picked it up and ran with it, and they're in custody. So that's very interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Scott says they got them on the RV and they're, but from farm. Very interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And y'all, if you have any cases that you want to send in to us, the email is at the bottom. I'll bring it back up. I'm going to hit the banner. Making sure I'm right there. It flashes up. Get a hold of Jennifer, myself. Submit them in. We'll take a look at it. There's certain criteria that we look at, and we'll review it. And if it's a good case that we can, we'll put it in line, and we'll do our best to cover it. But we're always open to anything. So please send them in. Could a mother be involved? Unfortunately, we see that family members have been involved. We can't rule anything out. The teacher and the daughter is, that's right, Sam, in Bardstown. That is right. So, but we'll see what happens on this one. Anything else you want to add, Jennifer?
Nope. I'm just excited, and happy Friday, everyone. And
yes, happy Friday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast around the world, we'll see you at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Take care and Godspeed. Bye-bye.
To a YouTube channel near you.